How is everyone doing today? And in this video, we're going to be talking about our first limited DPS of Zenless Zone Zero, and that is going to be Ellen. Today, we're going to be talking not only about her kit, but also talking about her W engine as well, just because we got to see it over on Twitter yesterday. And not only that, we're also going to be looking at some personal experiences and also some tips that I'm going to be talking about in regards to using Ellen, because yes, I was able to play with her in CBT2 and CBT3. She felt similarly the same when it comes to both betas, so I'm assuming she's going to be relatively the same when it comes to live release as well, which I am super excited for. So before we get into all that, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, all that different type of stuff, and let me know how excited you are to summon for Ellen, or if you're going to be summoning for Julian. I will have a video out talking about the both of them and which one you should probably go for if you want to min max the amount of, I guess you could say, film that you're going to be using to get these characters, but we'll wait until that video comes out. So talking about Ellen's going to be an ice DPS character who is going to put out some massive damage, absolutely, especially with how much of a difference she is versus a lot of her other DPS counterparts in regards to being inside Zenless. She is a very, very strong unit, and especially with her being an ice character as well. Ellen has a nasty reaction, which is freeze. And freeze, if you don't know what this reaction does, this actually allows you to have the enemy be stunned, and then you can inflict shatter, doing even more damage. And this just opens up a lot of different routes for team comps, and also opens a lot of easier playability, I guess you could say, when it comes to not having to worry if the enemies are doing anything, because they're going to be frozen anyway. Now, looking over her kit, from what we know immediately, we do see that she is going to have a really nice, I could say, mechanic with her flash freeze stacks, which you're going to be getting from doing various moves inside her moveset. First, let's talk about her core ability, or one of her team abilities, which is going to be if there are other ice agents or agents affiliated with Victoria Housekeeping, which is the maid company. This consists of Corin, Lycan, and also Rena. When Ellen deals ice damage, her ice damage will increase for a period of time. The effect can stack up to 10 times, and each activation refreshes the duration. So you definitely want to make sure that you're able to keep your stacks up, similar to how Piper is as well, where you can have the max amount of stacks, and you kind of want to keep it that way for the longest amount of time. That way you don't have to rebuild it up whenever you do lose your buff. So this is something that is very important to notice. And going on to her actual kit, when it comes to her moveset, a lot of it in regards to how it's going to work is going to be building up your flash free stacks, which you get some of them from using your skill, or you get some of them from using your dash attack, which you have to hold. This gives you 3 each. I think the skill gives you 2, and then you're allowed to have a certain amount of flash free stacks. Now, with these flash free stacks, this infuses your basics, which hit super hard with ice damage, and this does so much damage to them, it's not even funny. You can permanently keep up your ice infusion if you play Ellen a certain way, and this makes it so that you can do so much damage on top of having characters like Sokaku buffing you up, having characters like Lycan helping you out with days, or other team members that you could possibly put together, which we'll talk about that when I make my Ellen guide. But overall, she has a lot of aspects to her that make her super fun in regards to her gameplay. And not only that, she has her ultimate, which hits an AoE and does an absolutely enormous amount of damage as well, from her coming from the sky, landing on the ground, and doing a crap ton of damage. Her switching does the same thing as well. A lot of AoE, good damage, and just absolutely wreaks havoc on anything that is under her. Overall, a really strong unit to have, especially with how she is as a DPS. And not only that, when she holds down her dodge button, she actually enables a sprint. When you're in this sprint, you get 2 different things. One of them is going to be a bullet parry, I guess you could say. Whenever you're going against robots, whenever you're going against humans with guns, you're able to actually deflect all the bullets coming at you. Although they do a little bit of damage, you can negate it fully by just sprinting, and she's going to be twirling her blade around, making it so that the bullets get deflected off her blade, and it's a really cool animation. A lot of the sword characters actually have this when it comes to looking at Ambi, looking at Soldier 11. A lot of these characters are able to do the same thing when you walk around with them or run with them against these bullets. They usually slash their sword around and then it deflects the bullets. I think that's a really cool detail on how that works, and also something to notice as well. Because we have W engines in this game, everybody can have their own weapon. No one is relegated to a sword, to a great sword, to fist, to anything. No, since we have W engines, everyone's been able to have their own type of weapon. I think that is a very nice thing for Zenless, just because it's going to allow us to have so many different play styles, especially when you look at how, like, Anton, he uses the drill. You have Lycan, he uses his kicks to be able to do damage. You see Coleta, she has a hammer. You see Ben, he has that beam or that big strong thing that he has next to him. There's a lot of different weapons in this game, and I think this is a very healthy thing to look at. And in regards to Ellen, when it comes to how she works with her dash, again, she also, when it's holding it down and running towards the enemy, she gets an automatic dodge. You usually are able to go ahead and dodge very easily because she is going to be giving improved movement speed, which is very strong and allows you to reposition yourself whenever needed. When you're trying to dodge an attack or have to deal with multiple attacks coming at you, you just throw out your run button and you're 100% fine. You're going to be dodging a majority of those hits, which is a really strong thing for Ellen. Now, looking at her teams and looking at the things that she's going to be running, I think her ice team is a very strong early game team that you're going to probably run with her, which is going to be consistent of Sokaku, who we get for free, which is a really nice thing. She helps with AoE, she helps with slight grouping, I guess you could say. She doesn't have any pull, but when you have Sokaku doing her flag banner, she stays in one position, so all the enemies usually try to tend to surround her to do damage, but then they end up getting stunned or they end up getting dazed because of her whirlwind that she does, which provides a lot of days and a lot of anomaly buildup, which is an overall good character to have with Ellen, who is free, like I said, that you get from Shiyu Defense. And then going into the next character, this can be a little bit more of a flexible spot because you can't put someone like Lycan, who is really good in regards to the days meter for a bunch of different characters because he is a stunning character, or you could probably rock with someone else on the mate team, which is something like Rina, who has defense ignore and a lot of other capabilities that will be helping you out with your damage. So we're definitely gonna have to see what her best teams are for sure. And then going on to the last thing about Ellen that we need to look at is the W engine that got teased as well. And funny enough, we did get to see the passive in full, which I think is a really cool thing. One of the main things for the Deep Sea Visitor, which is her 5-star weapon, is that she's gonna have crit rate 24% as the main stat, which I think is a very strong W engine to automatically have on the ally. And then the next thing is going to be increases ice damage by 25%. Upon hitting an enemy with a basic attack, the equipper's crit rate increased by 10% for 8 seconds. That means she's going to have around 34% crit rate, but I think it's absolutely nasty. When dealing ice damage with a dash attack, the equipper's crit rate is increased by an additional 10% for 15 seconds. Oh my god. That's 40. What is that? That's 44 crit rate added on top just for using Ellen in the way you're supposed to. I think that's absolutely nasty, and you definitely want to make sure that you're doing the right moves and also the right combos in order to activate every single piece of crit rate that you're going to be having. And the next thing is going to be the duration of each effect is calculated separately. So not only do you get a static ice damage boost, you also get an extra 10% crit rate for hitting an enemy with a basic attack, and then you also get more crit rate when you end up hitting an enemy with the dash attack when you have ice damage, which is the ice infusion that you use from your flash free stacks that you're going to be getting from your dash attack, or when you go ahead and get from your skill as well. So you're getting around easily 44% crit rate for free alongside 25% ice damage. This is absolutely nasty when it comes to the amount of power you are going to get from this W engine alone. And it kind of fills up your need for many relics to be put onto the crit rate substat if you go ahead and grind out your disc drives, which I think is absolutely nasty. And we're definitely going to see some crazy stuff with Ellen. I'm 100% sure we're going to be seeing crit damage with penetration, because penetration is the defense reduce of the game and it's absolutely nasty as a stat. So that's pretty much what we're going to be seeing most likely. I will have a guide out for Ellen when we get to the time of release, so that's going to be super exciting to see. But other than that, that is going to be it for this video in regards to talking about Ellen. She is going to be a powerhouse, especially with her signature and especially with her kit that she has in whole, because she does a lot of damage, a lot of good AoE, and a lot of really good dodging capabilities as well with how her dodge mechanic works, and also with all that she's able to do in regards to the damage itself, the AoE that it gives, the ice damage that you do, the easy to use signature weapon if you're going to be pulling for that as well. A lot of really crazy stuff for Ellen. But other than that, that's going to be it for today's video. When it comes to talking about Ellen, we will have more videos talking about Julian, talking about Ellen, talking about tier lists, all that different type of stuff, and I cannot wait to talk about that. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all guys in the next one, and peace.